Yeah,
So I didn't
That's
mean to
great.
ask you about this, especially since we had Dustin Farthing, the pro watercraft guy, on with us. What a dude! I mean, he's heading up the IHRA Pro Watercraft division now, and he'll be running alongside you guys in St. Pete at the opener. And super dude. But he sent me some pictures, and I knew you had gone down on the jet ski, but I had no idea to the extent
Ah,
of your
thanks, Dustin.
crash.
Yeah.
Win or swim.
That's exactly what I was thinking too. Whoa.
Yeah.
What a deal. I'll tell you
What
what,
happened
hats
there?
off
You
to
were,
those
yeah,
guys.
you were going for it.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So that was in the second moto. So they made us run two motos, and it typically, like they said, like Daytona, it's kind of okay because it's usually pretty flat, it's just going around the buoys fast, and I'm like, cool, that's what I'm here to do. Woke up the next morning, I think there was 3-footers coming on the shore, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So out we go, and I mean, I'd met some great people: Dustin Battleaxe Jones, Keith Sayers, Casey Curry, Ben Wallace, the BMX guy, all monster athletes, and then there was Chase Outlaw, rodeo guy. So I mean, you're racing against. You just don't know what you're racing against, honestly, to be quite frank. And I'm
Yeah,
like, well, shit, I'm a water guy. I got jet skis. Like, this isn't going to be any problem. But it's amazing how competitive those guys are, even in just a celebrity type deal like that.
yeah.
And so we were out, and we were on the last lap, and come around the backside buoy, and I had arm pump so bad. And if you've ever raced motocross or anything, like your wrists and your forearms are just jello. There's just nothing left on arm pump. And I was coming across, and I think I saw 68 or 72 or something before the last pin, and I caught a little bit of a wave, and typically you would just handlebar and steer right out of it, and it kind of hooked just a little bit, and I'm like, I couldn't hang on anymore, and over the bars I went at 70 miles an hour and rolled across the water, and yeah, it was I really showed my ass on that deal for sure. So it was
Hey,
it was pretty impressive.
I'd rather you do what you did than just settle for a third or a fourth.
Right,
I mean,
right,
Yeah, exactly.
right.
that's what I was thinking. I was
Yeah.
like, well, he crashed, but at least he was trying to get the win. He's going for that
Yeah.
grand slam swing.
Blaze of glory for sure.
Yeah.
Oh my, yeah. So when I got back to the shore, of course, here comes Dustin and Devin and all the Farthings, and they've got pictures and steal shots and frame by frame by frame by frame. I'm like, oh my gosh. I said, let's put on a show for the fans out here. This is just getting it done. But
Yeah,
it
that's what
was
people come to see.
it
That's
was
for
wild.
sure.
Yeah.
I always, I'm on the board for the shootout, and I was like, people go hoping that we screw up, and they're all like, they don't like hearing that. I'm like, yeah,
It's reality.
Yeah.
It's reality.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
The
reality.
elephant in the room for sure. Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it is. It's just like any sport. You go to see the guy get knocked out in the football game, or the
Right.
guy to
Right.
eat shit in a turn in a offshore powerboat race. Or a
That's
guy to
right.
wipe
That's
out on a jet
exactly
ski.
right.
I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. But no, that's the
yeah,
first time I'd met the Farthings, and I'd followed them for quite some time, but man, what great people.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
they put on a hell of a show when it comes to the Aqua X and the PWC stuff. I mean, first class, everything is in line, in order.
Yeah.
They're a well-oiled machine. It's fun to
Yeah.
see. So I'm excited to have them with us this season, and it's gonna be
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
It's gonna be
when
great.
we were pitted by him in New Orleans last year, it was eye opening to me on how much goes on. Even on the, and those were the endurance bikes that,
Yeah.
that aren't that crazy when it comes to horsepower, but are crazy when the amount of crew that it takes and the amount of bikes that they have or boats, they call them. I got to get that right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
yeah. There's a boat and there's a ski. So
Right.
the ski is the stand up. The boat is the big boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty cool.
That's awesome. So,
Yeah.
guys, what can we expect from Monster Energy MCon this season?
Some
I mean,
podiums.
factory
How about that?
stock. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not ones to go out and say that we're gonna do. We just try to do as best we can, see how it ends up, because we know how it goes. I mean,
Yeah.
you can lose a prop shaft, in the Sunday of Key West. You can catch your boat on fire in the last straightaway of Sarasota. You can,
In
you
the
can do
lead.
all kinds of shit. it's
Especially if it's
so,
an MCON down the side of it. It's guaranteed,
yeah,
God.
yeah.
God.
I forget
No.
what we were doing. I don't know what it was. He's like, well, it was totally not race related. And he's like, yeah, this is MCON, Myrick. I forget what happened. But anyway.
And you're starting to believe it all now, aren't you?
Yeah.
I mean,
When you got a lot of activity, a lot of moving parts, there's a lot more potential for things to go haywire.
yeah, shit's gonna break.
Yeah, shit's gonna break. Yeah.
No,
Well,
I
that's
think I think we're tuned in to having a really good season. I mean, with all the things that are going on with IHRA and how that's all coming together, we're everybody's excited to get going. Monster Energy backing us again this year, obviously, best sponsor there could be in motorsports, and so we always put our best foot forward to go out and represent the brand and try to put these things on the podium. And anything less is not per se failure, but it's it's a tough pill to swallow, because we got a badass crew behind us, and we try to wrap ourselves in some badass equipment and the support of our wives and our family. So
Yeah. And
I'm very optimistic this year.
It is.
Awesome.
And for people that don't understand, it's pressure on you. When you have, VIPs and, CEOs and vice presidents of marketing and, and they expect you to do good because they're spending a lot of money, and
Yeah.
at that point, it's like, adds another level of stress. I remember Dave Scott me being a crew member, it wasn't as stressful, but I could see the stress come through him on when he was telling us what to do. And I still see the same stress on Tyler on telling our crew how to act and how we want things to look and things like that. It's not show up and, party time. It's like the guys do a great job too. I really like the video that Jace put out the other day. And it was just ad lib catching me on Sunday morning, and the guys had the boat tore apart. And, it was like, they're all sweaty and, had been there since 6 a.m, stayed there till 1 or 2 at night, had the boat ready for us on Sunday. And, and it was just talking and everybody from Mike to Dave to Craig to Jake and, everybody that's involved it's crazy, and
and that's a regular scene. It's not like it was staged for the cameras or anything. And that's
no, it was as authentic as possible.
Yeah.
What's amazing that people don't see is this stuff. Got done with the street party last night. I don't know, 10 o'clock. Came back here. They put 3 hours in, 1 o'clock.
So we found some little stress cracks in the gimbal ring. So we're gonna pull them off, put full transom assemblies on it, just to be safe. So we'll work tonight. Get this thing done. Try to test it tomorrow.
It's 9 o'clock now. I got the transom assemblies replaced. They've got services done. It's a lot of work. They got days of work in a night. Shout out to all the guys. Mike, Dave, Craig. Oh, and by the way, see that sweaty little monster up there? He's working his ass off. Jake is doing a great job also. So anyway, shout out to the crew for keeping this thing in tip-top shape.
Similar to, Jace's Gulf of America video, which is
Went
one
viral.
of my favorites too. Tyler and I are literally, you have to show that or put a link to that, however you do it on the editing of this, because when he's like, hey guys, can I have the mic? And Tyler and I think it was like 100. It was one of the hottest I had been in the boat. And it was like, and Roderick even apologized because we sat out there for like 45 to 50 minutes in waves. And if you've never sat in a hot race boat in 3-foot waves, strapped in, like ready to race, and you're like feels like you're sitting in a bobber, and then you're just sweating, and then your headset, just like we have on now, it is like somebody from the shore that's like, you're sitting 2,200 horsepower on the Gulf of America. It was hilarious. And if you know Jace, he's full of energy, that's for sure.
Can I have the microphone for a second?
You got the mic.
Dude, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but you are sitting in 2,200 horsepower over the Gulf of America, also known as the Gulf of Freedom. Go out there and let her rip.
Yeah, thanks, bud. Thanks for the pep talk, bud.
Oh, you bet.
Yeah. It did a good job getting us pumped back up though, because we were over it at that point.
Yeah.
It was
like, what are we doing? What are we doing? It's kind of you just get to that point. You're like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
I forget what was holding it up. Helicopters, maybe. I think we even got down to the other end because there was an incident in the previous race that they had to extract somebody or something, and then
Angel
One, and then and then the race promoter just being jacked and say, everybody off the wall, because it was Clearwater was a tight area where we had to pit, so everybody's off the wall. Then it's like, okay, now what do we do? And it's like,
yeah.
But I feel their pain. They've got permits. They've got freaking, they got a lot of people to keep happy, and it's impossible.
Yeah. Yeah, right. So, Myrick, you just had a birthday. Happy birthday.
Yeah.
49.
49.
49.
Yeah.
God dang. My driver's getting old in here.
Yeah, he's washed up.
Yeah.
Gnarls Carlson said so.
Yeah, Gnarls Carlson. That's funny. Somebody online was making comments, and they were saying that, and obviously the crew loved it. I'm like, it's like, actually, and I think he even said it yesterday. You're just washed up. I'm like, thanks. I think they used a lot. I think they even said that I had to create a podcast to feel relevant. I was like, man, who is this guy? I like him.
Not giving him a complex or nothing,
Oh, and well,
old Gnarls.
Yeah, I was thinking, today. I mean, not necessarily that you don't have to be thick-skinned, but all these freaking NASCAR guys that are lighting up Cletus McFarland. I was like, this guy's got his dream. And all these other guys, and I don't know if it's true, a lot of them are memes that I see on social media, so I can't quote them, but I saw Bush getting all up his ass. My son's got more races than him.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, I saw that one, and it was Kyle Busch, and then I see comments by Petty, but I was like, I think it's cooler. And I think the boat aspect of things is awesome because, I mean, come on, you want to race me? Come on. It's like, it's one of those things compared to, oh, you got to have 15,000 races and, been doing it since you're 8 years old. Yeah. I don't necessarily think that's true. You know what it does for me more than anything? It makes me root on that guy. I want to see. I don't know if it's possible. It's not like I'm a stock car driver and know how it actually works and how good you really have to be. But I want to see Cletus McFarland kick some freaking ass. And just like Travis Pastrana.
Pastrana came in there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and like he, and he's jacked at like 16th place. He's like, yeah, we finished. I'm like, I can't believe it. We were 3 wide. We got 4 wide. And I love to see his enthusiasm on that, and then let alone it gives the guy that thinks, man, maybe I can do it, gives him hope,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I always think that, probably the guy that has the most talent on being like the best guitarist never even got to hold a guitar. The best, boat racer, potential to be a boat racer, maybe never got to ride in a boat, so give people the opportunity and you might learn something.
Yeah.
So anyway,
no doubt.
Gets me wound up.
Tell us how you really feel. Come on now.
Yeah. No, I just think what I was thinking about Gnarls and his comments against me, and then how many people.
See,
and thinking about
how many washed up takes it to a new level.
Yeah, being washed up really gets me fired up. I guess.
And turns 50.
Yeah. I'm going downhill. Yeah. So I don't even know if this race is next weekend with Cletus McFarlane, or I'm rooting on him. I wonder if I can get on FanDuel Sports and bet on him.
I think they're in Vegas next weekend or this coming weekend.
Is that when he's racing? Is that or I think he's doing like maybe Richmond or Rockingham.
Yeah.
Something
2
like
weeks.
That. Yeah. But man, what's his name? Can't remember his name, but Michael Jordan's team, freaking 3 in a row. Yeah, Kyle Reddick.
Yeah,
Tyler Reddick.
Tyler.
Yeah. There you go. There you go. Now you're getting it. You washed up guys can't hear very well, can you? Huh?
No, I told you earlier. I'm bad with names. I was talking about, everybody. You're just ripping off names along the beach that you wrecked in front of, but
3 of them were farthings.
Yeah.
With the camera.
They all start with a D. So I saw him ripping through those names. So yeah. No, but yeah. I tell you what, it's I'm excited about this season. I'm excited about, everything going on with the 2 boats, and then still having the old girl, and then Monster Energy, and then the new sponsor, and then, just Jake having a new baby, and us still having our same crew, and maybe a new addition here and there, and, all that. Just the Performance Boat Center family, the MTI family, the MCON family, all, being together and putting the boat on the podium, I guess. And the Monster family. I forgot that one.
Well said.
Which is a big family because, look at Dustin Farthing. He was saying 18 years as he's been with them. And there was times where he had to get his business going, and they're like, yeah, we'll still do what we're doing, and just let us know what you're capable of. I talk about how good of a sponsor that is. So
Yeah.
I saw the official drink of the IHRA too.
Yeah,
I think it came out today.
So they're covering the whole IHRA season. So thank you, Monster, for yet another thing in the world. So that's awesome.
Yeah. Thanks for having the energy drink to keep all my guys in the shop jacked up so they can keep working on all these boats.
Totally.
How's it make you feel after you have a Monster, Myrick?
I don't know. Like, woo! Is that what you're trying to get me to do? Yeah. So last week he wanted, since we're sponsored, since the Boats and Bros podcast is a sponsored by Monster Energy Drink, he's like, he had me like do some outtakes, and I'm screaming and yelling and being a jackass like I normally am.
Well, no, and of course, wanted to do a promo, and of course, when I wasn't recording was his best one. He was like 900% through the roof, and it wasn't on camera.
Yeah, obviously it wasn't on camera.
Got to always keep the record button going around him, Ray.
No question.
You just never know.
So that's what Jason Matt do.
Yeah, totally.
Right. Wanted to thank Monster Energy for sponsoring the podcast, the Boats and Bros podcast, and really excited about it. How about you, Myrick?
I'm excited as hell. Monster Energy. I just had 2 of them, man. I'm all jacked up.
Me
This stuff's
too.
awesome. Yeah.
These
I ain't gonna be able to sleep tonight because this is 9 o'clock at night after our boats. Missy's rolling eyes and shaking her head at me. Anyway, yeah, big. Being with Monster Energy is an awesome deal. Been fortunate enough to be sponsored by them with boat racing for the last 2 or 3 years, and now to have them on the Boats and Bros podcast. I really do love that sugar-free stuff, and when we're working late nights and when we're doing all this other stuff, it's awesome to be part of the Monster Energy family and drink their product. So, go Monster Energy!
go. Cheers. Thanks, y'all.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
especially with all them GoPros on the boat. They caught me with my wiener out, peeing out the escape hatch. They've done everything.
Monster hanging out, not hanging, poking. GoPro. The GoPros are on. Look at my little dick.
One of the most epic days in boat racing.
That
Yeah.
was awesome. And I'm glad you
Yeah, I
brought
think
it up
that
so
was-
I can,
that
I
was
can
like
click this
one of
back
our-
in again.
Yeah. Oh no, we're out there doing 50-mile-an-hour laps, running out of gas. This whole class one
Memories,
thing
see?
was a learning curve. Yeah, I'm telling you, we can screw some shit up. But it's like I heard, and I heard that one saying that Randy Sissom uses all the time now. You can screw up a crowbar in a sand pile, so
Mhm.
you can definitely do that.
Yep.
Yeah.
For
Randy's
sure.
got some gems for sure. So
Billy Moore came up with one the other day. It was a pretty good one. He was told me at the Miami show, "Oh man, I'm gonna screw it up." I even called him back like 2 weeks later and asked him, "You can little makeup, little paint makes them pretty when they ain't." I think is what he said. He was talking about 2 things. I'll let you fill it up. A little makeup or a little paint will make them pretty when they ain't. So anyway.
That's
Yeah.
good. That's really good.
Yeah, I had to remember that one.
Billy's
but
hilarious.
yeah, he was saying Randy told me this about boats and girlfriends, I guess. But yeah, it was. Yeah, I'm excited that I was disappointed that Billy wasn't going to be in Class 1 because say that you do go out and win and then it's like, well, Billy Moore wasn't there, and you're like, yeah, you're right. It's not our fault necessarily that he wasn't there,
Right.
but it's still you want the legends like Tyler said earlier out there. You want the Steve Curtis, the Johnny Tomlinson, the Billy Moore. You want them guys.
Jay
out
Moeller,
there.
all them
Jay
guys out
Moeller.
there.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
want them. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're exactly
sure.
right. I mean, yeah. So, have you heard what's going on with WHM? Are they racing their 40 in Class 1 or what's?
Yep. Racing their 40 this year. I know he's working on a new project, but I don't know which route he went yet.
Okay. Yeah,
So-
and so what other? And you said Rich Wyatt, but maybe not the first race, but the second race, and
Mhm.
then obviously
Both X boats.
X South went to Pyburn and Lily, DeFalco went to that, and then both X boats, which X North and X South, which is JJ, and then the other guys, Billy,
Nick Buis,
Nick
and then,
Buis,
Billy
Yes.
Moore, and Kevin.
yeah,
Kevin
Kevin,
Barone
Then you got
So-
Willie in the new boat, and
with Johnny
with
Tomlinson.
Johnny.
yeah,
Trying to think
you'll
of
have Rusty and
Chad.
Chad will be coming on scene.
Yeah, not right off the bat, but maybe
Right.
mid-season.
Then the 50
Adam
Mystic that you
Adam
guys used to
Carpenter,
run.
Yeah,
Mystic.
Adam Carpenter.
Yeah, Adam.
And Matt Kowalski. Is it Matt? Jim? Not Matt Jim. Matt Kowalski or Mike Kowalski?
Is that who it is?
No.
He was in Dependable at one time.
Yes. Yeah.
Is
Kowalski.
that's his name? Kowalski. Sorry. Yeah. Mark Kowalski. That's who's going to be with Adam Carpenter. So, at least that's what I was told. So I don't want to. If anything that's wrong, it's not my fault. I can't remember names that well.
Washed up.
Yeah, washed up. And so, am I missing?
I take
anything?
it back.
Am I missing? No, I can handle it. I'm thick-skinned.
There's what, like 8 or 9?
Yeah. So we got DeFalco, and then XX, X North, X South. Well, DeFalco's gone on it, and I think that we're just gonna call it Dirty Money Racing. Yeah.
Probably.
So Dirty Money Racing, X North, X South, us, WHM,
Out of pocket.
Wyatt. What's that?
Out of pocket.
Oh
Did
yeah.
you get them already?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the
but Billy's team,
X.
Yeah. That's gonna be X South, out of pocket. Yeah.
Adam
there's
Carpenter.
5.
You got Willie.
Yep.
That's
There's
6, 7.
Yeah, and then potentially by the end of the year,
WHM.
2 or 3 more. So we could have as many as 9 by the end of the year. I mean, the first race will probably be the leanest just because of the early March race.
Yeah.
I heard that they might be running the course differently there. I forget who told me, but something due to visibility, and it was really cool watching the IndyCar race on TV the other day, and watching. I mean, they race right through where our boat pits is like the straightaway.
Yeah,
I couldn't believe that.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah. I was like,
Tuning
I've
into
been
the
there.
whole thing. Yeah.
Our boat sits right there. And Missy's like, Hal, there's a dock there. I was like, that dock normally is there.
She's not believing you.
Yeah. Well, she didn't go to that race, so I had to feel like, oh, babe, I've been there. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You should come.
It is cool. It's a cool venue. Really cool. Yeah, and they're going to run you, I think, north a little bit along the seawall there to get more fan engagement and some different things, and bring you into the pier a little bit different. So,
because as of now, they ran us away and then brought us back towards the pier. Just like when I had told last race, well, El Bandito had done the spiral maneuver, Steve McFootball
football spiral. Yeah.
Football spiral.
Yeah.
So anyway, St. Pete coming up, and then New Orleans, which was a great venue last year, and we got to redeem ourselves there. We got our butts kicked last year.
Ooh,
and
brutal.
Yeah, and then Lake Race. So that's the first 3.
Yeah, Coco.
Sorry. Coco, then Lake Race, 4th.
Yeah.
So 4.
Get a good rough water one in there before you come to the lake. Beat all your shit up.
Right.
Yeah. And everybody's like, so when do you think this boat's gonna be ready? I'm like, well, as soon as possible. I was like, I really don't want to take it to Coco as the first race. I'd rather sit there on the rev limiter for a couple straightaways, right?
Right.
Yeah. Just go there. Right. Well, we found the weak link. That's the mechanic part.
Yeah.
So
starting about in Coco.
Based on how you guys have seen the boat and had it in your hands, in your possessions, are you happy with the way it turned out?
Oh, yeah.
And do you anticipate it being a fast one?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we wouldn't build it if we weren't confident. I mean, but I tell you what, it might take Skater a long time to build a boat, but some bitch, you cut into it or you inspect it. There are some talented individuals up there, and that not necessarily that they've been doing it. They've got Pete telling them how to do it. And there's something about doing something for almost 50 years that, it makes it is pretty dang impressive. And I'm confident. I'd say I'm more confident in it than the 438 when it arrived, just because it was so much, gearboxes and just more Mercury products. I guess I should say that's probably the best way of describing it. Yeah, on this one. Way. I mean, it's basically very similar to a pleasure boat setup. So.
Yeah, which Tyler, you're no stranger to. You've owned quite a few of those skater setup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's what I text Myrick as soon as he laid eyes on it and got it in the shop. I said, well, how's, I think one of my first questions was, how's the bilges look? And he's like, dude, they look awesome. Clean, slick, shiny.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just lots of room, and then asked him how the running surface and everything looked. And he's like, it's perfect.
It's perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the input that Jake gives the guys up there and asks for things and just like us asking for the cockpit unfinished, because prior you would got the boat like body worked and painted. And so then you got to go in there with a DA and just start saying, well, like, hey, I want to put this here. Well, you got to, adhere it, whether it's an epoxy or fiberglass, and then bolt it, and all that. And it's like, okay, that stuff that was pretty is not pretty anymore. And and Tyler kind of talked about it earlier. I mean, when you get the boat into the season and you've got it and you immediately forget about what you had done that was satisfactory but wasn't off the charts necessarily. Say, for example, the way you put a throttle box in, it's a piece of aluminum with a piece of carbon fiber, all bolted in. But man, you can really make something trick if you have more time to do it. So
yeah.
And that's the goal. And that's what he was trying to talk about earlier, because it's rare that you go back and tear the cockpit apart and, mid-season to say, hey, let's make that a little bit prettier. You're thinking more about, let's make this thing faster, you know, once the season starts.
What about your canopy? Is it the same similar canopy as you guys had in the previous boat?
Shorter.
Yep.
Shorter.
Yep.
Yeah. Pete even cut the coring out of the top of the tunnel to gain more depth in between the canopy top. I think it's 45.5 inches. And it's, to be honest, the best boat you could build would be like the canopy just not even be there, just like a little bubble with your head sticking up. Because aerodynamically, it's the smallest footprint that you're gonna do. But when Tyler and I start to dream about a boat, we're like, cut it down. And then you start cutting it down, the sides and everything. You're like, okay, now it looks like Lord Helmet on the top because we got to fit in this thing, So it's like, okay, well, we're going to lay our seat down more. Hey, we're going to do some angles that we're not so necessarily used to get this boat. We're going to get a smaller helmet from Myrick's big old gourd. I don't know. We're looking to gain a quarter of an inch here somewhere, that kind of thing.
And that was a really cool part, like Myrick was talking about when Pete cut the coring out of it. So where our seats are, that's where he cut everything out and lowered our seats and then that way the cockpit was able to come down and it made everything lower to the deck of the boat. And man, it looks rad. I mean, it looks nice and sleek and aerodynamic, and those are all the little things that after you've built 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 of them that you just, you keep thinking about and processing. And, we cut the sides down on this one tremendously. I mean, Myrick sent me pictures of, half the top of the engine sticking out of the back because, the hatch is going to have to cover it and everything else. But that's what we wanted. We've had a tall freeboard boat for so many years that you get in the wind and it kind of pushes you around a little bit more. And so and we talked to Pete and he'd already had it in his mind, like, I'm taking it down to just enough so the transom assembly can fit on the back side of it. And I'm like, perfect. So
that's right.
Yeah, there's a lot of ingenuity that went into it.
Fly the boat. And and I'm telling you, it doesn't take much when he's got that tab in and that drives, neutral or down a little bit. That boat's up and it gets a breath of wind. I mean, and you got to stay on course. It'd be different if we were just heading out into the abyss and you could just let it float across there, you know?
Right.
But when you're like, oh, I got to make it to that buoy, and he's like, left, 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 left. And I'm like, trying, you know, it's not going, you know, that kind of thing. That was the thought process of the lot shorter boat. So
yeah.
We'll be able to. You need to have somebody like do a rat fink drawing of our boat, you know, like with the motor hanging out, because it's going to just look like turbos with the hatches up. People are going to like, holy shit, we can see half the engine when the hatch is up. That's how it's going to look.
That's awesome.
Right now, it's like, I don't know. It's like this is the point. It's at the point where you start imagining what possibilities are. Obviously you dream of them, but once you start I'm the person that you have to sit it in there for me to imagine it, you know, what can we do, you know?
Yeah.
And Jake's so great about it. I mean, literally he has the engine in there. Like, why are you putting the engine in? He goes, well, cause I got to see where this stuff's going to go. And I'm like, okay, you know, and trusting me, this kid is one of the hardest workers I've ever been around. And you know, to watch him do it and see him over the last 10 years grow as not only a dad and a man and as a mechanic and a crew chief and all that, to, you know, to watch him. And then we still brainstorm. Greg and him and I were brainstorming today, and you're like, oh, that's a good idea, you know, kind of thing. And then Dave and Craig came down, and, you know, Dave immediately started talking about, you know, things that were concerning him, and, you know, it all comes into play. And yeah, but for, you know, I love having Jake as a friend, employee, teammate, and it makes me excited about things.
Yeah, no, he's great. And the rest of your team too, Tyler. I mean, you've got quite the,
and our wives,
and their and your sponsors, and your
yeah. Hey, I tell you what, we couldn't do it with not losing one of our people would be catastrophic. So yeah, that's what Tyler makes. Being around Tyler makes you a better person because he's that good of a dude. And I ain't doing it to fluff him, but I watch it, and I watch his mind work, and it's really great to be around him. He makes me be a better person by being around him. It's cool. So, and
it's a joint effort. I tell you, it takes an entire team, you know, it really does, because we all complement each other so well.
Yeah.
And from our wives to our kids to the family atmosphere to the guys in the pits to
Chelsea,
you know, I mean, it's
on
just
the computer, and, you know, she'll even, you know, Chelsea will ask questions that I'm like, why is she asking that? And then, you know, then 5 minutes in to that question that she asked, we might have gained a 1/10 of a second, you know, through a section, or, hey, why don't you guys run this prop? Because she does a lot of our telemetry and actually giving us the data. And her doing that made us better at the end of the last season. Yeah,
for sure.
That's cool.
Yeah,
for sure.
And you know, people don't, you know, they see it. They might see her like hop up in the cockpit, but it's work. She's hopping up in there, plugging in, downloading our stuff, and it's hot. And then her and Lindsay are, you know, tearing tents down and packing, you know, chairs away and helping do hospitality stuff. And, you know, I mean, it's one thing, like, you know, Lindsay's sitting there ordering us meals and, you know, doing all this other stuff. And then she's right the first in line when it comes to wash the boat. So, I mean, it's, I could go on, and people like think that I'm fluffing or whatever, but until you're there and you watch 24/7 what's going on, it's the real deal.
Well, and it all also comes full circle because you guys are such good sportsmen, right? You guys compete hard on the water, but after you guys are done, the competition's over, you guys would be the first to have a beer with the guy in the next pit.
I try to be everybody's friend.
Sure.
Yeah.
Try.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And going back to Billy Moore, I see him in that same category, right? He's the fiercest competitor on the water, but off as soon as you're done, he's always got that big smile. And usually
Steve Curtis, Johnny Tomlinson, those guys are, I mean, there's a reason they've been doing it all these years, because they're nice to be around.
Right.
These wealthy individuals that get involved in this, they don't want to go and deal with an asshole all weekend, you know, and then and pay this person because this is their free time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So instead of having a vacation, it's like I went racing, you know.
Yeah.
So it's yeah. I love the pits. You know, hanging out with Billy Allen. You could literally go down there, Sean Connor, Vinny. You could go through the pits and Reese Langham. I mean, you can talk a little bit about everybody. I mean, you know, Cole Leibel and I mean, it's crazy you can't do it all in one race. So it's like you have like a little conversation with everybody throughout the year, you know, and then it just all accumulates to, then you're like, well, season's over. You know, it's like, holy shit, can't believe it.
Yeah. So Tyler, in previous podcasts, Myrick had mentioned the possibility of your offspring competing against you guys.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. We actually had that phone call or that text again, I think Sunday.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know,
he's like,
and
he's like, so when's Preston turn 18? I'm like, September 16th. He won't listen to this because he's his dad. So, and he don't know this either. So, and he's like, what year? I'm like, this. And he's like, oh, I could see his text like thinking.
Yeah. So 100%, you know, Preston obviously has grown up around this stuff all of his life. And, you know, as of the last 2 years, I've watched him around Performance Boat Center and working with Myrick and, you know, taking clients and customers out, you know, up and down the lake and even just docking cigarettes and different things I've seen him do. I'm like, holy shit, this kid is not a kid anymore. Like he's a young Myrick. And to see him grow up around that kind of stuff, you know, I think it hit me probably last year. My two younger kids, Bentley and Barrett, are both they're diehards. They want to be at every race they can be at, and pissed off when they can't go. You know, but Barrett really got into it last year with, you know, helping with the setup and helping change props and just everything he could get his hands on.
Moral support. I mean, you wouldn't believe some of these texts. I'm like half teared up. Like, this is the kid that I want to smack in the back of the head 2 years ago because he's riding my ass so much, you know. And then next thing you know, I'm like, man, he has matured light years in 2 years. And to where it's like, man, Bear, whew, he got me, got me teared up. Yeah.
But for me, that's what it's about, you know, rather than just, okay, let's just go throw them in a boat and let them go racing. Like they need to, just like at MCON. I mean, people start out as laborers, they work their way up through the labor chain. They become operators up through the operator chain, foreman, superintendent, project managers, operations, you know. And so both these boys have done the same thing. I mean, they're earning their way into what I potentially see as the guys that are going to take over for Myrick and I. And I fully believe that. And if there's anything that you know, Myrick and I can do, and Lindsay and Missy to set them up for success, and maybe have them start just a little bit better than what we did, you know. I mean, that's all you want to be. That's all you want to do as parents. So Preston's going to be 18, and man, it's go time. I told him, I said, shit, these boys need to be on the lake testing all this summer. And he's like, I
immediately thought of, you know, how through us even being in the 500 boat with them, if we could, you know, sit in that back seat and put up a buoy course, you know.
That'd be
totally.
awesome.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
It's the
Let them sit in the
500
back seat with us first, and
duh. Number probably what's one of those pills that makes you Xanax or something like that? I don't even know. I probably need a Xanax before we get in there and let the boys take over, because I'll probably shit my pants. But imagine how cool of a memory that would be in the 500 boat for young Miller, young Coil with old Miller, old Coil in the back seat, you know, coaching them along.
Well,
so stay tuned, Ray.
And me as the media guy, I'm already like picturing
Yeah.
the shot that we're going to run in the magazine of the jerseys, Miller Coil, walking towards the boat.
One of my favorite
pretty
pictures ever was, I think it's Jackson. I think Missy had a Coil jersey made for one of my little kids. And it's like, I'm walking down on the dock and I think it's a Jimmy John's jersey or something like that. And I have my Coil jersey on and I'm holding this little, he's probably 3 at the time, little 3-year-old's hand walking down the dock. I'm like, oh, it's like one of my favorites.
That's awesome.
Hey, yeah. I think it was lake racing.
It's
I think, yeah, it does.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tear up. I'm all washed up. And
Washed
crying.
up. There it is again.
Crying on the podcast. Tearing up. Getting all sentimental.
It comes with old age.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's my whole thought process. I was like, thank God they didn't give me one of these things when I was 20, or it'd have been rolled over in turn 1. So then you start thinking about putting your kid in one. Yeah. And especially with a throttleman and a driver, you got to be able to talk each other down, or talk each other up, one way or the other, depending on how you might run in last place. You're like, come on, buddy, we can do it, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or why'd you get this propeller, So them boys have got some learning to do, but I think they're both going to be great together, and I'm excited. And I'm actually glad that we've waited like we have, and as far as what class to put them in and things like that. But they need some seat time and some confidence building and stuff like that. So
well, I can't wait. It's going to be exciting. Good stuff to come. Tyler, thank you so much for joining us. It should be an amazing season coming up in a few short weeks, starting in St. Pete and then rolling over right into New Orleans. So can't wait to see the new boat. Can't wait to see the old girl running in St. Pete and you guys inside there. So good luck on the whole season. Thanks for joining us again, Tyler. It's been great talking with you. Myrick, thanks as always.
Bro.
Yeah.
Thanks, bros. Appreciate everything. All you guys do.
Please remember to like, follow, subscribe, and share. This has been another episode of the Boats and Bros podcast, and we will see you on the next one. Thanks, guys.
This podcast is powered by Speedboat Magazine. Subscribe now at speedboat.com for 9 power-packed current issues a year direct to your mailbox.